Hello everybody and welcome to Earth 101. Today we will be discussing how life has evolved on this planet. So what exactly was the first type of life on this planet? We have yet to actually discover this type of life, and we most likely will never discover it. And that is because of the surface temperature of Earth at that time. The majority of the evidence from the 3.8 billion years ago was destroyed, including the organisms which inhabited the oceans of that long-forgotten world. However, these organisms would be very simplistic. They would most likely be some form of single-celled organisms, and the first ones that we would consider life would be ones that replicate themselves. And this replication causes mutation, which causes evolution. But how can we possibly know this? How do we know that mutations even exist, nonetheless cause something like evolution? Well, we know they exist for many reasons. The main one being that life is not perfect. When you were being developed in your mother's stomach, your DNA was being copied from both of your parents. You were getting the genes from both of your parents, and your body was trying to be copied exactly as it was in your parents, but because life is not perfect, there were random errors that occurred. And these random errors led to the unique characteristics that made you. That's why every person, with the exception of monozygous twins, is different genetically. That's why we all have different DNA. But that's why your DNA would be a lot similar to your parents rather than someone like your friend, because you have your DNA directly from your parents, but you just share similar DNA with your friend because you're both the same species. But the main way that we know that mutations like this cause evolution is when mutations like this are much more drastic. And the majority of mutations that occur, such as genetic disorders like autism or other genetic disorders in that aspect, those are all bad. Those are not good genetic mutations. The majority of genetic mutations that occur are not good. They do not benefit the species. But every now and then, there will be a genetic mutation that does benefit a species. The most classic example of this happening is the peppered moth. During the 19th century, there was the Industrial Revolution. But before the Industrial Revolution, there lived a species of moth called the peppered moth. And this moth was white with black spots on it, and it lived on the trees nearby London. And what happened was, during the Industrial Revolution, there was black soot that covered all the trees because of all the pollution being spewed into the air. And this black soot made the white moths extremely visible to predators such as birds. However, there was a random genetic mutation that occurred in one of the moths that changed its color pattern from being white to being black. And this blackness blended in with its background of the tree. And because it blended in better with the tree, it was less visible to predators. And because of this, natural selection favors those who are more fit to their environment. So natural selection, I'm speaking hypothetically here, there is no being that is natural selection that deemed it worthy of living. It's just simply a process. And so the birds couldn't see this black moth, but they could see the white one. So all the white ones would be killed or eaten, while the black one survived to pass on its genes. And then over time, the white gene was eradicated from the population, causing the peppered moth to become more black than white. And so there are charts that show the ratios between black and white throughout the ages, and then it gets more in favor of the black. So that is natural selection at work right there. So that is all natural selection is. It's just nature selecting the organisms which are best fit to their environment to live, while the ones that are not fit to their environment die off and their genes don't get passed down, so that way only the fittest genes get passed down. And then this leads to more complex life, and that's how complexity came from simplicity. And I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. Also, if you're new to this channel, which I assume everyone is since this will be my first video, please subscribe, give it a like, and I'd love feedback on this. So see you next time on Earth 101.